Jermell Charlo recaptures the WBC World Super Welterweight title and gains revenge over Tony Harrison, stopping him in the 11th round. Now, one of the issues with Charlo in the first fight was he wasn't proactive enough. He had the arrogance of a guy who felt as though the judges would give him every close round. In this fight, he weren't trying to leave it to the judges. He was a lot more proactive. He wasn't reckless, but he was a lot more proactive, applying a lot more pressure, more effective punches, and it was a good fight, good competitive fight. He dropped Tony Harrison in the second round, and it was a legitimate knockdown, but Harrison wasn't particularly hurt. Their legs kind of got tangled up a little bit. Harrison was off balance, and he went down, but, wasn't seriously hurt. Got back up and proceeded to box pretty well. Harrison can box. He's not Floyd Mayweather or anything, but he can box. He is relatively slick. Never had the greatest punch resistance, though, and that came back to haunt him once again in the 11th round, where Charlo got through with more shots, this time dropped Harrison again, and this time he was definitely hurt. And Charlo went in for the finish, dropped him again. Harrison got back up and he was out of it. Jack Reese, however, the referee, has a history of giving fighters the benefit of the doubt. I mean, we saw it in the Tyson Fury fight, and we saw it here with Tony Harrison, because Harrison really, a lot of referees would have stopped it, but Jack Reese likes to let it go on, and he let it go on for a little bit longer. But when it became obvious that Harrison wasn't going to be able to defend himself adequately and wasn't firing back under a Jermell Charlo barrage, Jack Reese stepped in and stopped it. Harrison did protest because, curiously, Charlo stalked, after the two knockdowns in the 11th, Charlo stalked Harrison without really throwing much for several seconds. And I think Harrison started thinking, you know what, I might be able to weather this storm, because maybe Charlo's gassed, or maybe he's worried I'm going to come out with a counterpunch or something. But when he had Harrison up against the ropes and he started throwing shots, they weren't the cleanest shots, but given how badly Harrison was hurt, I can understand why referee Jack Reese stopped it. But I can also understand why, Harrison maybe felt like he could have continued, maybe felt like he could have weathered the storm. But bottom line is, it was a close fight going into the 11th. And if you've just suffered two knockdowns, well, you're not going to win the fight, are you? Maybe you want to score the moral victory of going the distance, but Harrison was never going to knock Charlo out. So, yeah, I can't really complain with the referee's decision to stop the fight at that point. So, yeah, Charlo regains the WBC belt, and now maybe we'll see him in unifications. The obvious unification that people would like to see is the fight against J-Rock. So we'll see if that can happen. If not, is Jarrett Hurd still going to be able to make 154? Because I always wanted to see Jermell Charlo versus Jarrett Hurd. I always felt like Jermell Charlo would beat the crap out of Jarrett Hurd, to be honest with you. Saying that for many, many years, still feel the same way now. Jarrett Hurd, very crude fighter, unskilled, pretty much just a weight bully, But against somebody like Jermell Charlo, who is not quite as big as Hurd, but is still big himself, I don't think that weight bully stuff would work. I think Jermell Charlo would probably tear him a new one, But still, Hurd is still considered to be one of the top super welterweights out there, so it's a perfectly acceptable fight. But the J-Rock fight is probably something I'd want to see more at this stage, particularly because it's a unification. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about Jermell Charlo's performance. Were you impressed? Were you not impressed? Did the fight go the way you expected it would? And who would you like to see Jermell Charlo fight next? Were you disappointed with Tony Harrison's performance? Because he did make a few mistakes there, which could have cost him the fight. Well, evidently did cost him the fight. Mistakes which he maybe could have avoided making. So, yeah, let me know how you guys feel in the comment section below. It's happening. I'm out.